Well, we got us a Class B Gulfstream. It's an XL edition. So we pulled all this insert here. We're going to take these loose. We want to check the slide roofs. But you can see all that rust. Hopefully we won't keep breaking all these off. But that's what I was going to show you. There's a lot of booger that fell out. Actually, all this booger that's in the gutter fell out. So slow the camera so we don't make the video sick. Alright, so it's your overall or your average, you know, put more on type application. Just slobber it with Dicor. Blah, blah, blah. Got a broken shroud right there. And what else we got? So we don't really even have everything all set up for us to work. This was just something I wanted to get done so we can get this portion. Then I can pull the scaffold away. And then we can get the rest of it, right? That's the objective. But this is an acrylic roof. This is the same roof they use on pop-up campers. So then I'm looking at some little bit of, looks like a little bit of dip over here. So we got this unit running. I still don't see any water coming out. It's been running for, I don't know, 10 minutes anyways. I would hope to have seen some water by now. But it's like 90-something degrees out here in the shop, and I'm sure it's at least that warm in the camper, but I don't see any water coming out. So we'll have to see what the dealio is on that. And all right, let's get to work on this. I'll show you more as we go along. Look at all this butyl. See all the butyl? Butyl. Still gummy, right? Still gummy. It doesn't work. You guys all the time go, man, that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. Okay, if that worked, why do I have this? Look at all these screws, how rusty they are. That one isn't quite as rusty, but like all the others, look at them all. They're all rusted over. These ones down here, terrible. I had to use a pair of pliers to get them out, and I had to put my glasses on so I could see what I was doing. Now that's how you know we're into some shit right there when I have my glasses on. To see what I'm doing. Even the heads on these things, they are just all chewed up. I couldn't get the bit to stay in there, so I had to just keep trying to twist them with the little dikes here. Side cutters. Look at that one, the shank is all gone on that. No shank. So that was my point that I wanted to show you, that the butyl don't work. It don't work. We use an adhesive sealant. That's what we use. Adhesive. Boom. Now it's glued. It can't leak. Because and you also see when we do, if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll see we make sure we have caulking on every single screw head. Alright. I know we got a rip in on there. I don't know if he's going to replace this one. The other one over there, the patio one we're going to do. That one's bad. Alright, so let us get this off. And then maybe we can get the scaffold away and check the slide outs. That was the whole idea of this. Alright, so we got the slide opened up. Maybe you can see that. So you've got the slide pulled out. And this tape was all compromised. This is part of the butyl that was left behind from the tape. And then also there was a hole in it too right here. So we're going to clean this up. We're going to see what we got in here. Probably take that screw out right here. It looks rusty. Let's see what's going on with it. The other thing I don't like is right in here. This is the metal band that they use for the membrane when they wrap it across, and they use this to hold it on there. And then you can see like there's no caulking in there. That needs to be caulked. The other one's the same way, this other one. So we got to get those taped up and get them corrected properly. So we got this one out. Yeah, they're just spinning. I don't like that. It tells you something's not right in there. So we're going to replace them. I don't think we can put them back in there. We'll probably have to drill another hole and put them somewhere else. Well, this is the fine machine we're working on. And what that is, that's a sheet for us to do an inspection. And we check everything out, make sure everything's okay, like the air conditioner, different thing, lights. We check everything prior to doing any work to make sure that everything's working. Then obviously gets checked again when we're done, make sure everything's working the way it should. So that's what it is. And we got a new fabric going on there. We just ordered that, so we'll get that on there when we get the awning. All right, so this slide is kind of interesting. It's got this skylight, you can see it right there. And some of the concerns we have, one, this piece is missing about an inch. That's one concern. And the other concern is right up in here. Not sealed. Look right here when I press. Let's see if I zoom up a little bit. We gotta get that sealed. So we're gonna take care of that. Then we're gonna see if we get another piece that we can replace this with. I'd like to see it come all the way to here. It should. And then the other side's a little tight. I don't know if there's a crack in this or not, but we're gonna clean it out and get all this pine needles and everything off of here. And we'll check this tape again too, make sure that's okay. If not, we'll figure it out and get something on there. We may have to open the slide to get the rest of this. All right, so we got our new tape down. Now what we're doing is just sealing it on that side. This rail that's right here on the top that I was showing you earlier, we're sealing that, and then we're going to seal the tape and everything else. So we've got it all prepped. That's what we're doing now over here. Well, we're trying to make some headway here and get everything pulled up. So you can see how they just slobbered it with all this caulking. You look over there in that hole, you can see that you got some rust stains in there. So obviously, self-leveling doesn't work. It's very deceptive. And there's some people that I swear they have a Dicor tattoo or something, because they'll say, oh yeah, so I've been using it and da 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 da. And you're like, well, why would you keep using it? If you don't have to keep using it, you should use it one time, maybe twice. It shouldn't be a go-to every few months. So we're trying to take the lens up right there. And then in the ceiling up here on this other AC right up there, right here, you can see the ceiling is sagged in. So we've got some ceiling issues all the way over to about here. And it's rotted up inside there. So we're going to see all what we got, but you know, hopefully you can see that, how it's puckered in and puckered in. So that AC is literally sitting lower than the roof line. So we'll have to figure all that out too. So, and then this material is the same material as a pop-up roof. It's the same type of acrylic. And a lot of people think that it's great. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have curves. You can put, you know, it's all one sheet. The sheet is not compromised, so it doesn't matter if it was poured concrete, solid piece of steel. It doesn't matter. Once you put a hole in it, it's got to get flashed. And that's what the RV industry does not do. And actually nobody does it, and that's why they keep leaking. And it's a shame that people keep having their roofs redone when you just do it the right way. And they do it, you can go anywhere online. Brazil, you can go look in Brazil, Germany, Poland, I mean, name your country, and look for their flat roof systems, and they will all have the same thing. It'll be up on a curb. The skylight over here will be up on a curb. That vent right there will be up on a curb. Everything's up on a curb or boot. It's elevated up off the roof line. That's how it functions. So that's exactly what we do. So we just do it the way. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just going with a wheel that has been proven to roll smoothly for centuries. So, you know, everybody wants to do a quick fix, throw a coating on it and so forth. They're not, for long term, they don't work. If they did, I would do them. So, alright, well, let us get to work. I'll show you the ceiling here after a while. Alright, so we're trying to make some headway, getting the roofing up. And this is a hot mess right here. This is all G-Lam. And you can kind of see the wrinkly here. That's what happened. So you got this layer, you got this layer, 1, 2, and there's one more underneath it. And that's how it works. And if you look, the grain is going this way, grain going that way, and the one underneath will be going that way. They alternate the grain. But this is all rotted out right here too. So, and the back of the bottom of the air conditioner was sealed. That was all sealed in there. So Some people always say, oh, this wasn't done. You're not supposed to seal them anyways, like with caulking, but that was caulk. So we're going to have to definitely fix that. We'll see how much more damage, but you can see the sealing right in there, how damaged that is. We may end up pulling some of this foam up. That may be an easier route to go. Not sure yet. So, but some of this is still pretty good. You can see that's nice and dry. That looks well. So this is where that big satellite or whatever it was, that tracker or something. You can see one there. See one there. Where's the other one? I don't know if there was one there, but these are already leaking. Around here is already leaking. Over there you can see some rust spots in there. You can see over there this skylight. You can see that was starting to breach. I try to show this. Yeah, we got that overload right there. Yeah, that's overload. That's on that one sheet, but I'm sure all that's soaked in there. So we're gonna have to open it up and see how bad the foam is. Well, let's see what the foam's doing. Because if the foam's wet, it's got to come out. We got to get all that wetness out of there. It'll never get out unless we open it up and dry it out or remove it. And since the ceiling is wet, no, you can't put a roof, just fix that, put a roof on it and still leave the wetness in there. It's going to surface some point, you know, upon this adventure of camping. And you'll say, hey, why do I have this water coming here? I just had a new roof put on. This water's still coming through. So we want to fix all this. This thing is soaked. It's soaked all the way down there. This is the foam core we just took out of here. That's what this is. Look at all the water we just squeezed out. So we're gonna have to pull it. I'm sure most of it's wet. Alright, so this is all soaked. Wow, that is like wet, wet, wet. I don't know if it'll show up my hand right here. That is absolutely soaked. You can see how the panel's starting to delaminate right there. But we had to pull it out. You don't dry this out. A lot of people, they'll think, hey, I stopped the leak and I'm just going to fix the ceiling. The foam is wet. You've got to get that moisture out. If it's still sitting in there, you're going to have ceiling problems yet again because it'll wick back down. You have to get it all out. We've done too many of these this way. I mean, you can use a moisture meter and that's how you tell. So we're going to nice and easy. We're going to get all this up and we're going to fit it all back in and we're going to salvage that. That seam runs all the way down this way. It doesn't go across like others. So I'm trying to salvage it and keep it original. I'd rather do the work on the top than on the inside. So we can also see what other issues we may have. So, you know, we got some framing issues here we would have had to deal with as well. Wow. Wow. Man, I wish I had a scale. I'll bet if you squeeze that, that water will come out. That is super heavy. I don't know if I can get some water to come out. But it's soaked. It is real heavy. Start to see some of the dampness in there, I guess, right here. But that is real, real heavy. That is soaked. All right, well, that's what we're doing. We had to get it out. Is the moisture meter up here?
Right there.
Oh, all right. Well, let's just do that. That's wet. You're not getting that out. It'll just stay in the roof. See? That's still soaked. That is real heavy. I wish I had, like I said, a scale. I'd show you how heavy it is. You can actually feel the weight of the water in there. So we got to get it out. All right, well, you can see that's what we're doing, and we'll get it all back together. And we're gonna have to nice and easy get this D-lam up off the skin of the fabric. All right, we get all this out. You can see all the foam and everything is out. We're trying to. This is D-lam right here. See the pieces coming up? Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get all that skinned off. Then I got a little bit under here. So I notice this is loose. I followed it back here. See those welds? It broke. That's it. It broke. The other side's the same way. You can see it moving down there. So that's how they put them together. If this one's any better. This one looks a little better. It's not moving like the other one was. So they just snotted that one in there. Looks like they got too much heat on it. These are really, really cheap alloy. And people say, oh, I love aluminum. Boy, that's a much better roof than a wood framed one. Not necessarily. This alloy is so cheap, you can't weld it right. Because generally they'll break. So you can see this one, like I said, it's already flipped out. So that's like that on, you know, along the walls. And there's a couple of companies that are having a lot of trouble with the frames, not only of the actual frame of the coach, but the back wall frames. So because they're so cheap, they keep getting cheaper and cheaper every year. This goes all the way down. See the trim? It goes all the way on top of the roof like that. And there's this track, I just cut it. See all this self-leveling? They had to keep putting all this stuff on there. Part of it is because they couldn't get it to seal. Because where all these holes are, to put the bar, right there, they didn't hit that stock. So it kept loosening up. This isn't the right screw, I just put it in there to show you. But they're all loose. See, they're not hitting the board. So they don't pay attention to where they're lining stuff up, and then they just put it together. Well, it's not going to hold. It's not going to hold. Then it starts. What happens to all that movement? Starts loosening up this self-leveling. This is not an adhesive. This is just a sealant. Sealants don't bond. So now it loosens up and it starts failing. Oh, put some more on. Put some more on. I joke around. I said the only one's putting more on is a moron. There's something wrong with that system, right? So. But we got most of this out. It's still going to clean some stuff out from underneath here and here. So I'm going to get this out. One, because it's not in the right place anyways. And I'll probably put another one right beside it right here after I do. But I got to get that ceiling panel out from underneath there so I can put another one in. That's why I took this one out too. And then I'll reframe it and put it all back together. So, but it has to go. All right, we are making some progress. You can see we framed it out, put some trusses in here, boxed it out. Then we replaced this here. We're going to use that. That was where that other cheap one was, where the screws weren't, when we put them through, it was set back. So I just made a new one. So we just got to push it back and line it up. Got everything protected right there, so we don't put any fasteners through it or anything. And this is going to be the one to carry the sealant, to kind of give it a little bit more strength. Otherwise, we get everything else. Got obviously the new sheathing in there, and the sealant come out fairly well. I got one little wrinkle on that side, obviously in the ceiling, but there's one little wrinkle there, and we're gonna put some trim on there. I'll show you how we're gonna dress that out. But it was a much better solution than trying to tear the whole ceiling. Now this particular ceiling, the seam runs all the way down from front to rear, and a lot of other campers, they go side to side. Had it gone side to side, we may have just pulled it out, but I didn't want to leave any other, joints and make it look like it wasn't supposed to be there. So we're going to do our best to make it look like it's supposed to be that way. I'd like to try to keep it close to original as I can. Then it doesn't raise any red flags. Things don't stick out at you. If anybody ever went to sell it, it doesn't look like there was something fishy going on and hey, we got issues with it, right? So like I said, we got all that done. We're not putting the satellite back on. So once we get this all filled with foam, which we're going to do here in a minute, once we get all that, we're going to strip the rest of the roof, and then we're going to start decking it and getting the roofing on here. So somebody slobbered silicone all over this. That's why it won't stay. See? Just flakes off. Yeah. Don't use silicone. Get it out of your vocabulary. Doesn't stick to plastic. See it? See? Does not stick to plastic. That is leak. Look at there. Look how clean that is. Kept clean. Do not do that. You will have dire consequences. They're all like that. We're going to clean them all up. Alright, we're making some headway. Up underneath this front cap, we packed that full of blown insulation. I want to get that insulated, and you can see how we glued and secured everything all together. Then we put brackets on here to pull this whole assembly together. Those are all glued in there as well. So we get all that going, and now we're going to start getting our foam laid in, and then this way we can start pulling the roof system together. But we got to glue the foam in, but then when we do that, we're going to actually glue the foam to the frame as well. Gotta bring this back. We'll have it glued to the frame. So this one is a little different only because it has a bigger span, a bigger footprint to be able to carry the ceiling a little bit. So that's why I put that one in there. But other than that, we're about ready to go. We're trying to just clean up some of the foam adhesive that we use to glue the ceiling panel back to the truss assembly. All right, so we're staging out the decking, and we're gonna glue it down. And once we get it glued down, this is our new foam that we put in. So we get that all ready. You can see not only do we put the foam in, but we glued it in there. So everything's all glued and along the perimeter. It's just not glued down, it's glued to all the framing. So now we're gonna obviously get the decking on, then we can start getting this roof put on. So now that it's all redecked, we glued it all down. To show the foam we used. This is a foam adhesive that we use. And now you may have some discrepancies in where the panels kind of marry together, because sometimes it's hard to get them, especially the way the old foam was. So what we'll do is just come back to make sure it's all looking well. We just come back and we'll sand it down with the sander, just so it looks nice and clean. So it's only a little burp, but I don't want to see it under the roof. Kind of anal about that stuff, you know. Let's make it look nice, make it look pretty. All right, so that's us. That's what we're going to do, get it cleaned up. Then we got the shoulders going on. We'll get those shoulders on here because the other material came over, so we had to get some shoulders to put on here. So we'll get that, and then once we get all that, we can start getting the roof done. Alrighty, this is the driver's side. That's already been done, but you can see the sheen on this. That's going to get rolled over this way. This is the passenger side. I've already got all, you see we sanded everything to make it nice and smooth. We didn't need to put buffer strips on there. Got a couple little burps if you can see them, but that's because there's an opening there for a vent. Got some shoulders on here, and then got them all cleaned up, ready to go. Everything's been glued and fastened and secured down, so we're good to go. Got to wait for this, and then we'll roll it over, and then we start putting the curves and everything on here. Alrighty, well, look what we're trying to do. See the way this air conditioner is? There's a lot of space in here. That needs to be blocked off. This is the coil right here, this condenser. And I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see. We've got a lot of room in here. Look at there. Can you see that? I got probably, I don't know, maybe four inches or so. That needs to be tightened up. You want the air to go through, and this is why a lot of people are having issues with their air conditioner, their refrigerator, because the air needs to go through this coil right here. It's got to come up and go through here, not back here, not inside here, not over there, not over there. It's got to come directly through here. So, or your refrigerator just is not going to work properly because it's relying to get this cool, and the chemical reaction you need from the heat to come up has to all happen. And if you're not getting that proper air circulation through there to get that to cool properly the way it should, then it's not going to function right. So that's what we're working on, trying to get this all blocked off. The other thing that I saw, the condensation line to the actual refrigerator that's supposed to come out was broke. So we got to put a new one of those in, because when the refrigerator does start to condensate, all that water is just going to go down to the floor and rot out the floor. So we're going to put a new tube on that. All right, our Gulfstream is done. This is just a little B class. That's all it was. So we obviously got all the, you saw it all come together. I'll just give you a rundown on what we got. 60 mil commercial grade. This is a reinforced membrane. This is a reinforced TPO. TPO stands for thermoplastic olefin. And that thermoplastic allows us to be able to weld. All this is all welded. You don't need any self-leveling. at all. You're done. This is it. So all those boots I made, we make everything custom here. Everything is I make in shop. So we make those because those ladders, they rickety rackety all over all the time, and all they use to mount them is what's on there. And then typically what they'll do is frost that over with some of that great self-leveling, and they go, hey, that's done. And then it starts to wear, and you get some water in there and starts to delaminate and come apart, or rot down at the roof deck, depending on what you have for a roof. So these are curbs. As you can see, it elevates the vents up off the roof line, and again, everything's all heat welded around. Also got the skylight over there. That skylight, same thing, and that skylight's just glued down. We don't put screws in them. It is solely glued down. This over here is a solar fan. So what happens on these skylights, and a lot of times people think that they have like this big leak, and they keep trying to chase a leak in a skylight, and it's a kind of a plural problem. You usually have two conditions going on. So especially in the winter, in the colder times of the year, you'll get some frost on top of the skylight lens. When you get frost on the top of the lens, on the inside of that lens, there's still some frost. The sun comes up, it evaporates off the top, but what's underneath, it can't get evaporated out. Basically, it condenses, right? And it'll drool down the side, and it'll start rotting out the roof deck. Then, as you're traveling and the roof deck gets weaker and weaker, the screws come loose. But a lot of times it'll soak in there, and then after a while you start getting these drips, and you go, man, everything looks great and sealed. Well, it's really condensation. It's dry rot. So, and then when it can't hold any more water, that's when it actually shows up as a leak. Well, those lenses, so that's what that fan is for. So now, when the sun comes up to evaporate that off, that fan's going to kick on. When that fan kicks on, over here, that's an intake. See, that focus is in. That's an intake. So it pulls the air up, over, through, and out. That's how it works. So you don't have to go in there and flip a switch or anything. It just keeps some air moving in that cavity, because on the inside you have an inner lens. So there's the inner lens and then the outer lens, and there's that gap in there. No air in there. So I want to move some air through there to get rid of some of that moisture. So on the other side is another plumbing on the other side of that. There's the other plumbing. And we got them all in boots, just like this one right here. It's the same thing. So if that cap over there, if that does pop off, take this cap over here, or this other one that's right beside me over here, take this cap, put it on top. Put it on top of that one, because that can leak. I mean, it will leak. If the cap comes off, it's just an open trough that comes through. There is a piece of foam in there that we put. It's like a filter foam. We do that just so bees and stuff don't get in there. So, but if it does, you don't want any water getting in there. Just take one of these, or just tape it up. It doesn't matter. It won't be the end of the world till you get a cap, if you need a cap. So you got all that, and then we got the air conditioners right here. We put these little stands on the back, and that just gives it some balance. It's not digging into the roof. It won't dig into the roof. They're just rubber feet for them, really, and it's real hard to dig into this. This membrane isn't the same as what you're looking at or thinking about on an RV. This is a commercial grade roof. This is at least twice the thickness of what you have on your camper right now. So, and it's a reinforced membrane. So what that means, here's a piece of it right here. Here's all our information. These are the colors comes in, tan, white, and gray. And you see all our information there. You can reach us at rvroofinstall.com or give us a call. But this is the actual membrane. I'm going to see if I can get this angle just right so you can see those little squares in there. That's a mesh that's built into it. That's the reinforcement. That helps resist against hail, tree branches, and so forth. It's really strong. It's hard to rip this thing apart. We do have a video on the channel. It's called One Badass Roof, something like that. And what it was though, before, it's a Keystone Fusion. That guy was doing some, I guess, some motocross, and he was going down to some of these trails with this huge Fusion, and he caught a tree. And it looked like a bobcat trying to hang on. It really dug into that shoulder. Still didn't breach it. Still didn't breach it. So it is really, really strong roof system. And again, with all this all heat welded, there's no caulking. It stays clean. All you have to do is wash it with some dish soap. You can actually pressure wash these roofs. If you wanted to go to a truck wash and say, hey, jump up there and spray that down, go right ahead. It won't hurt this roof. So it's We did that when we did commercial work. We had to get up on these roofs and we had to pressure wash them, and we were looking for some of the little leaks that may happen from a tech dropping a screw and stepping on it and things like that maybe. But we pressure wash them all the time. So we just had to get this cover. That's what we were waiting for. So we got the cover, and we got, this is a counter flash. So the way all these are all built on my curbs, the way I design them, you have a flashing and you have counter flashing. So when the water comes across and it wants to try to ride up, it can't jump this, and it gets redirected around. That's the principle of, that's how a flat roof works. That's how it functions. So the RV industry just wants to put that down and the vent down and then slobber it with self-leveling. That's not the proper way to do it. You can go online, you can do a search for commercial flat roof images, and you'll see anywhere in the entire world, that's the way you do it. That's how it's done. They just don't do it on an RV. Now I've had some people say, well, you know, this isn't a commercial roof, so you don't need all that. Rain doesn't recognize this flat roof any more differently than a commercial flat roof. It's still flat. Water's still going to flow on it in the same way. If you think about it, you're going to end up driving in rain with these RVs. You don't drive in rain with a commercial building. So you would really want to have a curb to keep that water redirected around, get it directed around, even the antenna, get it directed around all these openings. That's the whole idea to it. So once we get the whole roof together, obviously we got to caulk it. So we glue these onto the gutter, glue the gutter on, and then we'll have caulking that'll burp up and we strike it down. When that cures, then we come back and we put one pass on it. When that cures, we come back and put a second pass on it. The reason I do two passes is the caulking, no matter what brand you get, no matter how much you spend for it, it could be the cheapest and the most expensive, but it is still dispensed into that cartridge the same way, and there could be air in it. So you'll be, you know, squeezing the trigger, and as you're going along, you may hear a pop or crackle that you just injected an air bubble. So now the coach is going down the road, kind of doing his thing, right, flexing and so forth a little bit of movement. I don't want that air bubble to breach and then become a possible leak. So my thought is, let's put another strike on it. What are the chances of one air bubble landing on top of another? So that's why I do it. Everything has two strikes. We replaced this insert trim. I'm going to show you that in a minute. We replaced all that, and let's see, it's right here actually. So this is just in black, but it's the same kind of insert. Now we don't sell anything here. Just keep that in mind. I don't sell anything. We're just a service center. We don't sell anything at all. So this is, if you look at it, you can see it's, get back here. It's got a groove in it right there, and that groove, it goes in that track. And I'll show you the other side. See how there's that little reveal right here, and there's one on this other side back here. So this sits in that groove. You can see the little groove in there. So now I like this because it locks in and it keeps the water out from getting back into that track and keeps all that mess out. We've sealed every single screw on here. Every single screw is all sealed. I think I already showed that. I know I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to have to work to try to get it back together, but every single screw is sealed. And I showed you how much rusty screws we had. The white seems to be easier to put in than the black. That's it. So now the water comes down and it'll hug this and it'll get right into the gutter. So that's the system. Like I said, if you like the video, I think if you hit a like button or something, then it's supposed to do something for the algorithm or whatever, to so other people, when they're looking for stuff, they can find it. I don't know. I'm not really a YouTuber. I'm not a content maker. I'm making this video for the customer, and I want to thank them for bringing the coach here. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the work, and we take our time to do these jobs the right way, because, you know, earlier I showed you how bad that air conditioner and all that repair, how bad that was. And I'll go down and I'll show you the ceiling here in a minute. But you know, people rely on us to do a quality job because they don't want to do this again. These are frustrating to do. So getting back to not being a YouTube content person, you know, skip the ads. I don't do the ads. YouTube does the ads on me. So we don't monetize them. Sometimes you'll hear me play music or whatever. I do that on purpose, so this way you can't copyright that. You can still have it in there, but you can't make money off it. That's copyright infringement because you're making money. You're profiting from it, whether it's even a YouTube or whatever. So when some of these people, when you watch these channels, they go, oh, I can't play that because that's copyright. What that means is they can't play it because they won't get paid for that, the clicks or anything off of there. I don't really care about the clicks. So Like you said, I put this together so the customer can see all the work we did. Everybody's got questions. What'd you see? What'd you find? How'd you fix it? That type of stuff. So put it together. It's a lot easier to watch. And also anybody else can see the type of work we do. There's nobody out there that does this roof system. I haven't trained anybody to put my roofs on. So if somebody's telling you they do, they're not doing it like us. And there's not a shop around that does the repairs and the rebuilds quite like we do. So we may be a stretch down the road, but if you just don't want to have any more problems with your roof, this is what you want to put on here and be done with it. It's done. There's hardly any, I don't even know if you want to call it maintenance. Like, you can bring it back to us and we do all of the inspections for free. The roof system in itself, this is a 20-year roof system that's being put on a commercial building outside with all the sun, all the elements, you know, they rated it for 20 years on a commercial building. So these campers generally don't see that kind of sunlight. You know, generally they're tucked in somewhere out of the shade and so forth as a rule. I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule. But all that said, the system is rated for 20 years. So we'll say you get 25 years out of it. You still do not have to pull this roof off. You don't have to do anything. There is a recovery system that you can do that the company makes to stave the roof. That would give you tremendous more life out of it. So some people, you know, some of these spray companies, they say, hey, it's a lifetime roof. It's not a lifetime roof. If you read their warranty, it's the same thing. After 20 years, you have to put a top coat, they call it. But, you know, I don't want to mislead anybody and go, hey, you never have to touch it. This is going to be it for the rest of your life. That's not the case. So, and it's not the case with the other either. So sometimes people use that marketing, and then when you start looking into the fine print, then you go, oh yeah, that really wasn't the case. Gee whiz, I didn't think I had to, you know, do this or that. But you saw all the damage here, and that's the other thing with some of these spray and roll-on roof systems. And think about this, if you're contemplating on whether you want to bring it to us or if you want to have them do it, they're not going to put on curves like we do. That's not going to happen. They may make some repairs, but you're still going to have that air conditioner sitting on the roof, and the only thing protection you have is a foam gasket. That, when you saw all the problems we had on this one, that's not covered under your warranty on a spray or a roll-on roof system. So just keep that in mind. Read the warranties. And I just don't like to tickle anybody's ears. I'm a straight shooter, and I'll tell you exactly what you need to do, how you need to do it, and you know what a system can do, meaning a roof system or even another product. So I want to put them together so you don't have any issues. But when the customer comes back, we inspect everything. It's easy, and it's free. So we encourage people to come back. I like to see them come back. I don't ever want anybody to think, or any one of my customers to think that, you know, we did the job, thank you, we got your money, and, you know, come back when you just need to spend more. You know, not at all. We like to see people come back. We like to see how work is performing. We want to see if products are working the way they should. And if they're not, I want to know why. Why did something fail? Why is it not? And I'll get with the manufacturer if I have to. So on the back here, we've got the stamp that says RV, RI, August 24. We put those on there just in case they ever sell the coach. You know, someone may go, oh yeah, those RV roofs, you know, they're known to leak, they're known to this and that. And they go, hey, it's still under warranty. So, you know, and we flip the warranty, and it's not really that difficult. Sells it to John Doe, Mrs. Smith, or whoever is going to purchase it. They come in for an inspection. Once they come in for an inspection, we just flip the paperwork. It's that simple. It doesn't cost anything. I don't charge for it. I think my work should speak for itself, and it should last, regardless of who owns it. So, let me go show you the ceiling, and I probably have to get a flashlight or something, so let's go do that. Let's go take a look inside. Still got a pad in here. All right, there's our ceiling. So that come out pretty nice. So we replaced this. This had a centerpiece. It looked terrible. And then we put a couple of strips here. So when we did all this, we got everything just right. Everything was looking awesome. So I won't lie though, I'll tell you, way over in that corner, we had a tiny ripple. And I was like, daggum, we did so good getting it all. And there was one little ripple right in the back over there. So we removed all of this, and I painted this, and I also ran it through a router to get that shape. This is just a piece of PVC plastic, so I wanted it to kind of look nice. And then we just ran one strip there, and then we did another strip here. So we just spaced it out so it looked like it belonged. That's all we did. And we put one more right here, and you don't need one down there because you already got the one for the doorway. So everything worked out. Only need a couple of few strips. But the roof, or excuse me, the ceiling is all tight. I mean, it come back. So that saved them a lot of money from having to try to redo all the fabric
and redo all that. You're not going to find that's fabric. Well, I shouldn't say you won't find it. You can get the, obviously get the fabric. We've done them before, but it's not going to match. So it would still look like, you know, even if it was the same color, it's not going to match. It just would stick out. So I'd like to try to keep things as original, unless there's like a major reason why we got to replace it. Is it rotted, moldy, that type thing, just useless? Well, yeah, obviously I'll throw all that out. So, but that's the way the sand will come out. So I think it looks real good. I think it come out like, it looks like it should be. That's my point. Looks like it should be. If someone were to go buy this coach and they looked in it, they wouldn't think twice of like somebody retrofitted this or did all that. It looks like it belongs. And that's the way I like to try to do things. All right, well, we appreciate y'all watching. Like I said, if you like it, thumbs up. And you know, if you want to share, you can do all that stuff too, I guess. And other than that, I guess we'll see you on the next one. Thanks again.
So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick pack. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, it will simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do, and it's raining out. Right now it's raining, you're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you try and do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You want to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Get some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. Hey, what are you doing? What you gonna talk about, man? No, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. I get my fingers, fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably need some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. Oop, hit, there it is. Now you got the film. We'll take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a beautiful. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That simple. If it doesn't all sit in there, you can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, what the whole purpose of it is, this part here, this part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this, because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch, and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.